So following from my previous video on lower body exercises, my personal preferences, if you haven't watched that video, please consider watching it before watching this video, because I know some of you really do skip leg day. And honestly, it's very disappointing, because for a man to actually look good decently as like a physique as a whole, you need some good legs. You need some, good quads, good hammies, And to make that X-frame, you just need to work on those. Do your squats, do everything, which I'm going to get into is, well, I got into the squats and stuff in the previous video, and now we'll be going on to the upper body day. So to all the women who skip upper body day are a bunch of pussies. Basically, men who skip leg day, it's kind of vice versa. But anyway, this is for people who want to know what are my personal preferences, like anyone cares, about some upper body exercises. Now, considering I've made program videos, please consider watching those. I know, I'm a proper YouTuber now. I'm dumping my videos on people. Watch them. But anyway, yeah, so it's kind of a follow-up of that video, because you don't want to just like leave it for a bit and then your next video be about something random. So I'll be doing best upper body exercises in my own opinion, because yeah, I want to state my opinion. So, but anyway, we'll be going on to everyone's favorite man and woman titties, aka chest. So for all those chest lovers out there, you're probably thinking, I already know this. I train chest 5 times a week because I'm a retard. Now, I will say this. Stop training your chest so goddamn often. Like, for me, my proper chest days are Monday and probably Saturday. So my proper chest days are those days. Because for those who do not know, I do hypertrophy and strength training, which technically considers me a gym enthusiast, pseudo powerlifter, blah blah blah. So basically, I have a strength day, which is on Thursday, which is technically today. So I'm very behind on my videos, but I have like bench press and incline press. That's not because I'm doing a chest day. That's just because I'm trying to, get some, bench volume in. So technically I wouldn't consider myself, training chest. And, the reason I call it chest and arms is because, no one will watch it if I could just go bench and arms. No one will literally watch it. So technically I don't train chest properly, like all the time. But I definitely say when it comes to chest training, I like splitting mine up, and yeah, that's what we're going to get into technically, kinda. But I like dividing my exercises into hypertrophy and strength, because they kind of do different things but also the same thing. But technically for like chest, for any hypertrophy, you have incline press, which I really do like, and then you have your flat presses, then you have your cable fly. Now, I'm not much of a, lower pec enjoyer, for doing the fly pointing down, because, it gives you that saggy titty look, and I already have gyno, so I'd rather not look like I have breasts. So I try and focus on the more, pec major it's called, and then there's the clavicle, if you can think, clavicle, fibers and stuff. So technically those, get more activated through these movements I've just said. So like your flat press, your incline press, and your cable fly. Now, with the reason I say cable fly and, incline presses is because I am not a big fan of machines. I'm very much, a person who prefers more freely moving, things. So dumbbells on the occasion when it comes to flies, but dumbbells, barbells, and then your cables. So your cables, it allows you to, use your body English, but also, it adapts to how you're built, because not everyone's built for, let's say, a chest press that is basically, with arms and stuff. No, not many people are built for that. But I tend to find, because of my arm length, it doesn't go all the way down. It doesn't stretch my, my titty that much. So what I do is I just do incline press, which you'll see here. I do incline press with a barbell, but that's because of my shoulder injury previously for the past 3 months. And yeah, so I'm getting to the swing of it, and I do really like barbell press, even though, yes, it's a bit of, it's kind of in your chest, kind of gets in the way, but at least an incline, you're still stretching your pec to an extent. And then I go straight into flies, which on my chest days, that's what I do. So I definitely consider, doing that. And I suppose when it comes to, if you want some strong, massive pectorals, you need to consider bench press as well, because no matter what people say, really, bench press does involve most of your body. And yes, it's kind of a chest movement. And for those who think it's not anabolic, it's not hypertrophy, all this, they can calm down, because honestly, I found with increasing my strength on bench press and stuff like that, my chest has actually grown quite a bit, because it involves your shoulders, your chest, your triceps, even your legs. So it's those kinds of like compounds that I think will definitely help you when it comes to, pushing yourself and then adding on some muscle, because you're literally doing progressive overload as you go along, trying to get stronger, trying to get bigger. Okay. But also it's the range of motion. So like I've just said, range of motion with cables and dumbbells, it allows you to do whatever the fuck you want. And I like getting a real deep stretch, which is where all the tears come from. So by doing that, I'm able to get more tears, able to get bigger tits. So, but anyway, on to shoulders. Now, you probably noticed I'll put like, thing of me. I'm quite blessed in the shoulder department, and that's a bit because of genetics, because I've got a bit of a wider frame, but also because I prioritize my lateral delt. Now, the lateral delt is the one that literally pokes out laterally, aka lateral, raises. So lateral raises I like doing with cables, because constant tension. Because with a dumbbell, the tension as you go down just, slowly decreases. So by having a cable, it's constantly pulling on your, where you're pulling from. Now, don't do the stupid, "Ooh, I need to get some shoulders. I'm going to wrap a thing around my arm and then I'm going to do this." It's a bunch of shite. I will tell you that. Because as a person who's managed to grow their arms without doing some stupid shit like that, it's more tension if it's further down the arm, if you're doing that, than if all the tension's here and you're just doing this. Your trap is just going to get involved, and that's not what you want. So the form for any lateral raise is to kind of tuck your back into your body. So like kind of what you do on a bench press, bang, and then you raise your arm. With these shoulder things, they don't allow you, or like the straps, whatever they do, for like kickbacks these women do. It's like a male kickback, but it doesn't fucking work. So basically you're still getting your fucking trap involved. So just get some D handles. If your grip is such a problem, you have a problem. I'll just say it like that. Just tuck your back in and try and use your shoulders. I will say that. Keep it basic. How the fuck did Arnold get such a big upper body? With basics. How did the 90s guys get so big? Roids and basics, like Arnold, you know. But there is some beauty in the basics of you're freely allowed to move. Like, with a cable, you're allowed to move anywhere. You can put it a bit higher, you can put it a bit lower. You know, it's freely moving, which is why I like it. Now on to basically kind of strength, for shoulders. Shoulder press, it's there, but I'm not a big liker of it because I do incline press, I do bench press, which involves my shoulders. But I don't seem to lack any front delt activation, so I personally don't do it. But if you're trying to look at, more strength in your shoulders, I definitely recommend doing some shoulder press with some dumbbells, or pretty sure they have machines. Machines are fairly easy. And to most people, they're kind of there, but I'm not a big fan, like I've just said. So I'm more of a dumbbell person. There's also, barbell variation, which is decent, I'll say, is decent. And yeah, if you want to strengthen your shoulders, those are the kinds of, movements you need to do. But also for like rear delts, I see some people with shit rear delts, which I'm not one of those, because without even trying to make my rear delts, bigger, they still are big, I don't know how it happens, but I guess I'm just gifted like that. I just have two mountains on the back of my shoulders. But when it comes to rear delts, yet again, this to the side, try and pull across, because your muscles here, the fibers are running across here. Just like pull across and just try not to activate your back, but inevitably you will. But anyway, on to everyone's favourite, the 2/3 of the upper arm, the triceps, because you can't have big arms without having some big juicy triceps. I've found this through trying to upgrade my arms to skinny noodle arms to fairly good arms. So the progression. Now, I'm more of a preacher of, strengthening your triceps, but also doing hypertrophy. So for strength, I like using skull crushers and dips. Skull crushers, amazing because they're at such an angle that you're basically pushing the weight up. I say it's quite good for, all your benching and stuff, all this kind of, but yeah, I'd definitely say skull crushers are quite good. For some people, it causes elbow pain. Yet again, I think you need to get that checked out, but whatever works for you. And then there's dips, which you can add weight on, of course, add weight with a weight belt and just dip and snipping. I can't currently do those because of my shoulder, but inevitably I will be onto those, try and increase my pushing power. So all is good. Now onto my personal favourite hypertrophy kind of focused tricep stuff, which is tricep extension, which is where, say the cable's here, I've got like a single cable bit here and I just push down and it activates the whole lateral head, if you can see it. I know I'm a bit fluffy, but I'd say without doing all this shit, which you have to, get it up and do that, it's not really worth it because you do less weight and stuff. I found great success in building my triceps that doing, extensions and then going into push downs, which gets your long head and lateral head and medial head of the triceps. So I'd definitely say using the combination of extensions and push downs is all you really need, alongside some strength based of skull crushers and dips. Now, onto biceps. I like to, divide these into front and back. You're probably thinking, what do you mean by that? By front, I'm talking about, either a cable curl from this angle or a preach curl. Preach curls, single arm preach curls, I am very much a preacher of. pardon the pun. So bridge curls I do with a single arm, so I can, spot myself, and, it genuinely feels better. And yeah, it's definitely a good exercise. I would definitely recommend it. It's even backed by Jeff Nipple himself. I know not many people like him right now because of the controversy, but, Jeff Nipple does have some good points, but he also has some bad points. But anyway, and then there's the, cable curl, where you're using a double cable and then pulling straight up. Chris Bumstead does that. Many Olympians do it, and it's quite, it's very good exercise. And it stretches out the bicep, and, it's getting out of that front and back angle. But also you have your hammer curls to get your brachialis, which is technically what we're going to go into next, which is the forearm. The brachialis is like this thing that connects to your forearm. And to get this, you have your hammer curls, like I just said, and then you have your, forearm extension, I think they're called. It's where you literally go like, imagine there's like a pad here, and you're doing that. You're basically doing that. And it works. Well, to some people. I've seen some people do it and they've barely got any progress. But, it's there for aesthetic reasons. I wouldn't consider it much strength-ish and stuff. But if you're struggling with forearms, there's those, I suppose. Then you have your Sam Sulek, forearm curls where you look like those Tokyo kitten things. I don't fucking know. And then you have your rotational things. So imagine if you have like a weight in your hand and you're just basically doing this. So like supination and pronation of the wrist, and yeah, it gets all these like muscles here. So if you want big forearms, you're gonna probably have to do all those. But also for strength with forearms, which is technically grip muscles, which I'm technically involved in the hand now, there's the like grip stuff, so like hanging, holding on to stuff for a long time, stuff like that. I do some like hanging now and again for my spine, but also, to help with my grip, because sometimes my grip can be the limiting factor of my deadlifts. So it's just there to, help with stuff. And now we're going to go on to the back. Now, would I say I have a decent back? I'd say I have an okay back, It's not, the prettiest, it's not the biggest. I understand that. But in my own experience, you'd only really need 2 to 3 exercises for back, depending on what you're limited on. Now, for a person who's more like lat focused, I've probably done more like trap work, because my traps are probably the weaker part of my back. So I focus on my weaknesses, and then hopefully they come back and, then adapt it to that again. So when it comes to back, I do like lat pull downs, which is for the lats. And I tend to find with a good mind muscle connection, you can pretty much get the entire lat inside. Because people like say, oh, you shouldn't do this for lower lat. You shouldn't do. I get it all in one. So like when I'm doing a lat pull down with a double, I'm doing this. And also, don't worry about the attachment. It's whatever works for you. Because I'm quite wide, so I choose a wide one. You might be narrow and use a narrow one. It's all up to you. And especially now, I've used, single arm lat pull down, mainly to, create less of an imbalance in my lats, which I kind of do. So that'll be a update soon. But with lat pull down, fairly simple. You don't need anything complex. You don't need to do multiple fucking grips. Again, with cable row, if you're using cable rows, let's say, with cable rows, you don't need to use every fucking grip in the fucking world. You just need to choose probably one, and as long as it gets the contraction of the traps, you're fine. Stop using so many fucking grips. It pisses me off when people who literally say, "Oh, I'm gonna switch grips to get a bit of this back." It doesn't fucking work like that. You know, it just doesn't work like that. Yeah, targeting this exact same muscle. Doesn't matter. But for a bit of extra, you know, if you want to, you know, hit it at a different angle, which, as I've just said, those grips don't do shit, as if you're doing the exact same movement, don't do shit. There's lat pullovers, which is basically pulling your lats in front of yourself, and it's more like an upper lat activity. If you're lacking that anyway. And then there's like shrugs which target your upper traps, so it's kind of like all upper and stuff. But yeah, then you have your pen lay rows, your rows for like strength and stuff if you're doing deadlifts and etc. Really sorry about that. Had a carvery, it was very nice, and yeah. But anyway, that's kind of like my top picks for exercises, and I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments. You know, if you're thinking, well, I kind of prefer this, and you're kind of a dumbass, then say that. I don't really care. But yeah, we'll be going on to upper body day, which is kind of like just tempo bench and then rest of hypertrophy. So yeah, we'll get straight into the gym. So starting off with the tempo bench press, you know, a bit lighter. After all, it is only the light tempo day. Mainly focusing on techniques and stuff, so like keeping my butt on the bench, you know. Try and keep constant tension throughout the movement. I think with tempo, that's typically, you know, what I'm in for. Especially when it comes to bench, the more kind of like you do it, the better you'll get. No pun intended, because that's pretty much no shit Sherlock. But you know, with tempo, it gives you that, you know, that mental thing of keeping constant tension, because you're slowly laying the weight down, touch your chest and then back up. So you have to keep that constant tension, especially throughout the movement, because if you don't, you'll probably screw up somehow or let your ass fly. I see it as very good for those who struggle with you know just not keeping their asses on the bench, or you struggle with constant tension. I'd say it's definitely one of them movements that's pretty fucking good. So, but also more tension on the muscles that will be activated during the bench press, therefore making them adapt to that certain situation, because every bit of strength you're adding on, every bit of muscle you're adding on is an adaptation to the certain amount of stress that's you're pretty much inflicting on your body, which is great when you've done that work, done that progress, and you've actually, you know, you start progressing, you start getting stronger. All that stress will manage into, you know, your strength, your size and everything. So just keep that in mind, because with doing you know, bench press, it's typically, you know, getting your form down, and also just adapting a little bit, because some people's grips are different, because I'm more of a inwards grip. I'm likely gonna probably go further out as time goes on, but when it comes to bench currently, I'm more of a, you know, narrow grip, and it works for me, don't work for some people, so it's just you know, whatever works for you. So I just enjoy it really. But yeah, now we'll be going on to some dumbbell flies. Not my favourite movement, but the cables were taken for quite a long time, therefore I decided to just do some dumbbell variations. Try and like slowly like descend and then go straight back up, then do it again, not waiting at the top, because I don't think you can really squeeze with dumbbells, because in a way I want really, you know, a certain angle for it to, you know, feel the squeeze or anything. Mainly with chest, as I've said today, it's with the stretch and the contraction and stuff. So it's
it's okay. I would put in more of the category of, strengthening your chest and stuff. But also it can be used for hypertrophy, which I'm kind of doing right here. So, but I'm only using lightweight here, only like 22 kilo, which is, I don't know, 45 pounds plus. I don't know. I don't know for the Americans watching, but yeah, it's not really a movement you go heavy on, primarily because you don't want to screw your tendons, and also, you know, you'd be very fucking strong if you go up to the 30s and did some, flies with some dumbbells. So yeah, it's, just more chest stuff, but in the grand scheme of it, the rest of the workout was fairly fine. But I remember I did do triceps, but I didn't record, which is weird for me. Didn't record that, but I did like a lying down tricep extension thing, like I've done in the past. But we'll go straight on to shoulders. In regard to not being able to show off the tricep portion, but I did some like tricep extension thing while laying down. It just takes out the you pushing down with your entire body weight kind of thing, so just makes it a bit harder. But yeah, with shoulders, like I've said, lateral raises probably the best, and I only do lateral raises, and I tend to find my shoulders get better every single day. I'm trying to push them now because of my arms are getting a lot bigger, so the time is to make my shoulders even bigger, see how far they can go. If I look like one of those American football players with their little pads on, just with my own flesh and blood, then that's pretty cool. I have a weird, goofy build, get a freak build, but yeah, it's all looking good in the arms department. Just gotta, keep that going, and yeah, everything's looking very, very good in the meantime. But for those who, have been watching the channel for a while, I will be running back the 3-part, the 3-rep series. So I'll be going back. It'll technically be, just resetting it because, I didn't do too well, and if I do it again, I'll be able to find out what's wrong. So, but it's all in due practice. You need to think of these things and you adapt to your situation. So I'm pretty much adapting to my own situation here, which is I want to at least have the momentum of being able to do a certain weight and then move on to the next one, because I'm trying to aim for 230 deadlift for a triple, and I couldn't even get 200 on the day. So I know I can do it, it's just on the day. So, but anyway, we'll be moving on to back after some shoulders. So doing some lat pull downs with double arms because my friend wanted to join in, as you probably saw, Captain Pisstain himself, the obese cannon himself. So yeah, he helps me get out a few more reps, and yeah, it's very good if you have like a partner with you to help you with your sets and stuff. And yeah, it really does help, especially if you're trying to get some force reps out, which are always beneficial if you want to grow and stuff. So yeah, it's always good to have them partners and stuff. And yeah, it's not the only like lat movement that really works. I'm just more of a mag grip kind of enjoyer when it comes to like the certain grips there are. So by using the mag grip, that's probably worked more than most of the grips I've used. I'm just able to get more out of it, especially if you're more of a straight bar enjoyer. That's fine. Do what you do, boo, or whatever the fuck they say. Now on to some cable rows with a straight bar. This is Captain Pistane's favourite, so I use my straps on this one, so my grip isn't a limiting factor, especially after you know, doing stuff with lat pull down, which mag grips mainly involve your grip as well. And with straight bars, it's kind of like, from where I'm pulling from, there's no like, you know, not much grip. So by having, you know, straps and stuff, I'm able to hold onto the bar for longer and get more reps out, which is always beneficial. But yeah, you can do this with many grips actually. It's like, I don't like the narrow grips, but I think that's just a personal preference because I don't see them as much of a, you know, trap exercise. I see the wider ones like a, you know, if you've ever had a T-bar row, like those kind of that kind of wide, you know, grips. But that's just a personal preference of mine. I like, you know, you know, the wider stuff, but I think that's because I'm a wider individual as a whole. So, but no fear when it comes to, you know, attachments really, because there's loads for each person, and you don't really need to have a set, you know, if a person says, oh, I prefer this grip, you don't have to stick to that. You need to find your own, so, because your body's different anyway. But anywho, onto some preach curls, and then we'll be going on to some hammer rope curls, basically, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, primarily because I couldn't get a double cable because the cables are broken, so I had to stay with the, you know, hammer curls, which isn't my favourite, but you know, you have to do what you gotta do. But anyway, preachers, hammers, just getting the biceps at different angles. So yeah, that's pretty much the workout done, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Please consider liking and subscribing and sticking around for the posing, because, you know, you gotta stick around for, you know, some meaty delts and mid-chest. But anyway, see you in the next one.
I don't talk about it, I just spit it at the basic. You never even want to have to run up, turn and face it. Niggas in Paris, I watch it up, throwing on my energy, telling me, get them first involved with the loudest prize. It's okay, let me pillow. Musical chef in this bitch, we sit on my Pittsburgh, get the bitch, we gon' still on Sandman, Spider-Man, Dr. Who I am, venom, not lost, chrome hearts, crosses, all my denim, yo. Like a black and I don't talk about it, I just spit it at the basic. You never even want to have to run up, turn and face it. These are the rappers that you beat that fucking hate when they tell. I came for nothing, now they just can't keep my name out their mouth. Would have been one time for the remix, motherfucker, really wanna team it. Scheme it, motherfucker, really dream it. Coming out the gun, motherfucker, mean it. Sing it, sing, talk to me, shake it. Shake it to the team, shake it. Fuck that, let's get back. Motherfucker, really wanna swing it. Motherfucking take the fucking chain. Fuck it in the distance if you run your bitches, raise your pace. My blood be dripping, keep it tucked until they think I'm sweet. Coming up out of the country, grind, don't pass this shit over to me. Okay, sit on the throne of my enemy. me balls, better watch it, I'm what the fuck is you telling me? Niggas in Paris, I watch it, I'm throwing all my energy, telling me, get them. First involved with the lies, prize, it's okay, let me pin them. Musical chairs in this bitch, we sit on like Pittsburgh, get the bitch, we gon' still on Sandman, Spider-Man, Dr. Ark, who I am, venom. Not lost, chrome hearts, crosses, all my denim, yo. Like a black and I ain't a freak, like I'm quarterback, I ain't a beat, like the candy nerds, I am a geek, yo.
They don't really fuck with the ones like us, and they don't see us as a threat, so we overcome. We tell them, boy, you out of luck, cause the clock has struck, and we gon' come to take the throne, making Simon's up. They don't really fuck with the ones like us, and they don't see us as a threat, so we overcome. We tell them, boy, you out of luck, cause the clock has struck, and we gon' come to take the throne, making Simon's up.